friends, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So this video is going to be very different from my other videos. I'm basically doing a review on a spin bike that I got recently, and I know a lot of you have been looking for home workout alternatives that are cheaper than the Peloton. So I'm going to go into detail on my review of the Schwinn IC4 bike and why I chose it, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and if it may be right for you. I'll give you a couple tips on how to buy it. Also, this video is not sponsored whatsoever. I'm truthfully just sharing this information here to help you decide which bike is right for you. So if you haven't already subscribed, be sure to subscribe. Down below, if you're interested in health and wellness, my page is filled with yoga classes, yoga sculpt, nutrition videos, meal planning tips, as well as gut health and acid reflux, all things wellness. So I've ridden the Peloton many times and I really liked it. It's an amazing bike, it's really well made, the software is awesome, the classes, the instructors, it's all great. But it's really expensive if you're a student or if you don't have a home and you don't really know if you're going to be traveling, you don't really want to be locked into the $40 a month membership. That was a big thing for me. So when you get the Peloton, it's at least $1,900, and then you have the $40 a month membership that you are pretty much locked into. I believe you can freeze it if you go away, but you can't use any other software on that bike, so you have to use the Peloton. I think you can watch TV on the screen also, but for classes you have to use the Peloton app. It's a pretty big financial commitment, but it is 0% interest if you do decide to get the Peloton. But I did some research and I asked around on my Instagram. By the way, if you don't follow me on Instagram, you should. I post lots of healthy recipes and all things wellness. So I posted on my Instagram and asked you guys there, what is your recommendations if you have any for bikes that are not the Peloton? And I got the Schwinn IC4 from a ton of you. So I did some research, I checked it out. The biggest difference is that it doesn't come with a screen. It doesn't come with any software or anything like that. It comes with a little LCD screen, which you'll see later when I go downstairs and show you, that shows you your distance and your speed, stuff like that. Pretty basic. And the resistance is slightly different than the Peloton. So you can do Peloton classes on the Schwinn bike, and on the website it will tell you that it's Peloton compatible, and it definitely is. So that's why I went with this bike, because it's super easy to do the Peloton classes on another device, such as a smart TV or a phone or an iPad. I personally use a TV, and I love the experience of it. Coming from someone who has done the Peloton many times, this is so similar and you get pretty much the same workout. My boyfriend also has a Peloton, and so sometimes I use his when I go to his house, and honestly, you get more metrics with the Peloton. Like, you get the output, and you can see your resistance right on the screen. You get a couple of just more metrics about the bike and your performance, but on the Schwinn bike, you can also see your resistance on the screen because the bike connects to the Peloton app to show you your resistance. And then you can also know your resistance by matching what the Peloton instructors call out to what you're doing on the Schwinn bike. And that sounds a little bit confusing. I was a little bit confused by it too when I first started reading about the Schwinn bike, but I promise you, if I can figure it out, you can too. So essentially, the Peloton and the Schwinn resistance are a little bit different. They both have a similar resistance ability, so they both get as heavy, but the numbers that the Peloton instructors will call out are a little bit different than that you'll need to do on the Schwinn bike to have that same resistance. But there are resistance translation charts that I have on my bike that you'll see in a little bit when I take you downstairs, and that you can also buy online, because a lot of people do this. You can also buy essentially two bikes for one, because the Schwinn bike is $900, it's $899, but if you buy it from Dick's Sporting Goods, if you have a Dick's Sporting Goods near you, then it's only $800 because you can use the 10% off first time customer. So that's what I did. I bought mine at Dick's Sporting Goods and I picked it up and I got the 10% off, so it was only like $809. The other biggest difference is the membership. So I mentioned that Peloton has a $40 a month membership, but the Schwinn bike has the single membership from the Peloton app, which is only $12.99 a month. And they're also running a special. I think it's like 2 months free. So you could always get the app, see if you like it, and then decide later if the bike is necessary. But I love the app. I do their strength, I do their HIIT classes, I do their yoga classes. They're amazing. So I love it. I totally feel like it's a similar experience. What I will say is the only thing is, like, you have to do classes with instructors that say the resistance a couple times. So like Robin is one of my favorite Peloton instructors because she says the resistance and the cadence a couple times. Some of the instructors don't. Because when you're on a Peloton, it will tell you exactly what the resistance and the cadence is that the instructor said, but on the Schwinn, it won't say what they said. You'll be able to see your cadence, your speed on the screen, but you won't know what the range is that you're supposed to be in the class. So if you don't really care about that, the Schwinn bike I think is a great way to save money. I'm personally super glad that I went with the Schwinn and not the commitment of the Peloton, because I'm going to probably be moving and it's just way more flexible for me right now to do this version that I'm doing. And like I said, it's an amazing workout. It's pretty much the same thing. If you care about metrics a lot though, I would probably do the Peloton. If you have the money, I would probably do the Peloton. But the way that I do my Schwinn classes is that I AirPlay from my phone, and I simply just go to the Peloton app, pick the class that I want to do, and then I screen play or AirPlay, whatever it's called, to my smart TV. And for the price of the Peloton, you can probably buy a smart TV and this bike. So that's just something to consider. You can also get a much bigger screen and a much louder experience with the music and everything if you do it the way that I'm doing it with the TV and the bike. Also, the Schwinn bike comes with a heart rate monitor, which I'll talk a little bit about. What else do I want to say? My biggest concern with buying a Schwinn bike was that, is it going to be as good quality as the Peloton? Because I'm still spending a lot of money, and maybe I should just buy the Peloton if I'm spending this much money. But I do really feel like the Schwinn bike is great quality. It's better quality than any bike I've ever used at a spin studio or at a gym. It's very sturdy, and the reviews are awesome if you check it out. The one thing that I will show you downstairs, we have two of the bikes, one for my mom and one for myself right now. But when I move out after the coronavirus, I will take it with me. So that's why we have two. But mine has like a squeaky problem. So my mom's doesn't have this. Her bike has never had this issue, so it could be a total fluke thing, but my bike squeaks sometimes when I'm sitting in the saddle, and it was getting really annoying, so I just took some WD-40 and put it on my bike where I thought the squeaking was happening, and it pretty much fixed the problem. So that's my only real complaint. I love it. I use it all the time, and I'm super, super glad with my decision. But everybody's different. So I hope this video is helpful for you. And if I don't answer any of your questions in the video, feel free to comment down below. And again, feel free to like this video if it is helpful. So yeah, let's cut to the chase. I'll bring you downstairs and show you more of what it looks like. All right, so I'm coming down into my gym, and please ignore the mess. We have an unfinished basement. But I'll show you kind of what my setup looks like and how I do the Peloton classes on my Schwinn bike. So we actually have two Schwinn bikes here, one for my mom and one for myself. And then what we do is we just have a smart TV that we AirPlay the Peloton classes on. All right, so let's take a look at the bike itself, and I'll give you a little bit of a review of what I think. So the handlebars are super sturdy. I've ridden the Peloton many times, and I think that they're super sturdy. This bike is not as big as the Peloton bike, but it is very sturdy and well made. I've been on a lot of different bikes, and I love this one. The pedals are great, super comfortable. They are SPD pedals, so you can either clip in, which I do. I have a pair of TMs, which I love, but you can also just slide your feet in. So it's super convenient. If you don't want to get cycling shoes, you don't have to. The other thing that's great about this bike is that it comes with the weights. So it came with 3-pound weights that you can do the arm classes with. The Peloton, you have to buy everything extra. And as you can see, I have a block of wood underneath here because we actually have turf. But we put the wood block just so it would be sturdy, because you don't really want to have a bike on carpet. It can be kind of uneven. So I turn the TV on, and then what I do is just screen mirror onto the gym TV. And I go into my Peloton app. So if I want to do a cycling class, I would go to cycling. And all the classes are here. I pay $13 a month for this membership, and it has pretty much everything that the Peloton membership has except for output and some of the other metrics. But let's say we were going to do this intervals and arm ride, I would just do start. So I just paused the video, but as you can see, it comes up. It looks very weird color here, but it's perfect color. And so I just keep my phone right here. All the Schwinn IC4 bikes come with this area to put in your iPad or your phone, which is really convenient if you don't have a smart TV. So I just wanted to point out this little resistance chart here. So if you buy a Schwinn IC4 and you want to do the Peloton classes, you have to do a resistance conversion, which sounds a little bit complicated, but I promise it's really easy. I was hesitant about this too, but it's super easy. You get used to it right away. So Peloton, if they say 25 or between 25 and 30, which I'll often do for a flat road ride, then you just have your Schwinn on 5 through 9. So I'll show you kind of what that looks like. I'm not gonna lie, I had a little bit of trouble when I first got my Schwinn clicking in. I don't know if like the pedals were tight or something was tight, but over time it became a lot easier and now I can clip right in. I also love these shoes. I'll link them down below so you can purchase them if you're interested. They're the best. They're so comfortable. They came highly recommended by my friend who's a spin instructor. But let's talk about what you get with this bike. So right on this little LCD screen, you get the time, calories, which I have no idea how they calculate, speed, distance, level, which is simply the resistance you control by this knob. It's pretty smooth. I'm not gonna lie, it's not as smooth as the Peloton. My boyfriend actually has a Peloton, so I could compare. But it's great. I mean, I think it's great quality. It's definitely better than any bike I've used at a gym. So all you really have to do to make this bike Peloton compatible is follow what they say about the resistance. So if she says 25 to 35, you make sure that your bike is, wow, my bike is really high up, that this level goes down from 5 to 9. And it'll take a little bit in the beginning to kind of memorize that, but I promise it's super easy once you start to memorize it. So then after 50, you can see that all the resistance is the same. So in the heavier hills, after 50, the resistance is the same on the Schwinn bike. So now I'm pedaling really slowly, but you can see on the upper left-hand corner of the app, you'll get your heart rate connected via Apple Watch or the heart rate monitor that the bike comes with. The Schwinn IC4 comes with a heart rate monitor. The Peloton does not. And then you also see your cadence or your speed, which is really useful because you want to stay in line kind of with what the instructor is saying. And that shows up on my TV. Again, you can't see this, but it's a great alternative to the Peloton. So now I'm just going to show you a little bit of how loud the bike is as I'm pedaling so you can get a feel for the sound level. My legs are making more noise than the bike right now. It's super quiet, super smooth. I definitely feel like it's a high quality bike. This bike is a little bit smaller than the Peloton, as I mentioned, so it's a little bit easier to move. And if you're a smaller person, you don't really need a bigger bike. So I'm about 5'2", and this is perfect size for me. I think it fits really well. But if you're super tall, if you're above 6 feet, then you may want to consider a different bike because I have read in the reviews that some people hit their knees on the water bottle holder when they're coming out into like second or third position. I've never experienced that problem. And my mom hasn't either, who's about 5'5", but if you are super tall, it's something to consider. This bike was pretty easy to set up. You can see that in the reviews as well. A lot of people comment that it's not very hard to set up. It feels super sturdy. I'm a really big fan of it in general. I never feel like I'm gonna fall over. It's very quiet. It's just really useful to be able to take this bike anywhere. I'm not tied down with the $40 a month membership with Peloton. I can do any classes here. I can pop on some movie and do my bike. It's also really useful to have the TV here because the experience is kind of better in my opinion. So I rode my boyfriend's Peloton the other day and it was great because it has the auto resistance, the auto follow resistance, so it immediately goes to the resistance the teacher calls out. So that's a really cool feature. But I get the same workout on my bike. If you just listen to what they're saying, the resistance is the same once you use that conversion chart, and you can still get an amazing workout on these bikes. It's really just all in what you're into. I also do a lot of strength classes, so I like to have my weights right there, and I'm using the Peloton not just for the bike but also the strength classes and the running. So if you like to cross train and cycling isn't like your number one thing, I would recommend the Schwinn bike. If you want the metrics of the Peloton, like the output and being able to talk to other people in the Peloton groups, then I would recommend doing that because you do get more insight kind of on your metrics with the Peloton bike itself. But all in all, I'm super happy with this bike. I've had it since December, so almost 4 months now. I think it's a very affordable option compared to the Peloton, and the experience is super similar. Having just ridden a Peloton the other day, I can definitely tell you you'll get a very good workout, very similar with the Schwinn bike, and you don't have to pay for all the extra things like the weights. The other thing that this bike comes with is a heart rate monitor, so that was really useful. I don't use it because I just use my Apple Watch, which connects to the app, which is really useful, but you can use that heart rate monitor if you want. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment them down below. If this video was helpful, feel free to give it a like, share it with your friends, let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, be sure to do that down below as well. Hit the bell and hit all so you get notified for my future videos. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you next time.